All right, what's up, everybody? We're back in the garage. We're going to work on the Daytona a little bit today. So I think we're going to make a kind of more of a vlog. So I'm not doing no microphone. I'm not doing any kind of staging or anything like that. And then we're going to go over to Justin's later on and see what he's doing on his FXR Tour bike. Basically, where I'm at on this bike is I washed it, I cleaned it, and I discovered a few things. Nothing major, just a couple little things. You know, like I said, I am trying to get this bike ready for the FXR Tour. The bike, for the most part, is perfect. There are, however, a few things that need to be addressed. I have installed period correct slip-ons. So these are a set of Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle pipes that would have been available during that time. I also have added a lay-down tag bracket. And I've cleaned up a few things. Cleaned up a little bit of the paint on the engine. Cleaned up, kind of restored the center console here. Got that thing looking all nice and new. New gas cap. But the ignition is starting to fail. So on these early Evo, the ignition module in here, this little pickup, this little trail of butterscotch that's running down the bike and it's on the frame is a telltale sign. It hasn't failed yet. It still works. The bike will crank up and run, but that's not going to make it 1,000 miles on the FXR Tour. So not only are we replacing the ignition with this here Dynatech setup, basically what this requires, you got your new kind of crank sensor. You're going to have your ignition module itself. It's going to replace that one that's kind of burnt up, and then it's actually much like the factory coil, but as you see there, it's a 5 ohm coil. So we're replacing it with this unit. Install is going to be pretty simple. I'm also going to go ahead and upgrade to a set of period correct style bars. So like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the buckhorn bars. I know everybody's like, keep them on there. It looks very nostalgic. Just wasn't that comfortable to me. I've had bikes in the past with buckhorns. I've never been a big fan of them. So what I'm actually going to replace it to is I wanted to do something not modern. I didn't want no thrashing bars or Speed King. I didn't want names or logos on there. And I wanted the bends to stay to what would have been available in the 90s. So 5.5 inch risers. This set of risers will retain the factory handlebar clamp. These bars, these are actually from Chromeworks. These are called their bad boy bars. These bars, shaped, bent, the pullback, everything on these are basically like what a Springer bad boy would have, minus it's on a 3.5 inch spread and not the 4.5 inch spread that a Springer Softail would be. Also found a set of new old stock custom chrome head bolt covers. I'm also going to replace these kind of, you know, spongy OEM foot pegs with just a set of more modern Dyna foot pegs. So this is what would have come on like a 2015 Dyna. So doing that, new shift peg, new OEM NOS grips. So when this bike goes back together, it should be pretty well like what would have been available in the 90s. To make this video go a little easier, like I said, I don't want this to be a big how-to video. I'm just going to be working on the bike. I already started tearing it down. That's where we're at. This bike was actually a California emission bike. I've actually removed all the California emissions. This is the charcoal canister. I couldn't find a single video on how to do this, so I don't know if I did it correctly or not, but this would have been down in there, and it just kind of pops in. It was a pain to get out. There's no bolts. There's no nothing that holds it. So basically, I just pried it. There's little tabs in there. It eventually bent the tabs, let this thing pop out. And then I removed all the lines. This is a solenoid that would have been on the back side of the air box. Just took all that stuff off, put it all back together. Like I said, cleaned everything up. And where we're at now is we're going to actually remove this ignition. If you're going to be doing the same setup on your bike, basically what you need to do is remove the battery box. You have to get the old coil off. The factory coil mounts just like this. And you got to get 2 bolts out of this back side, which is virtually impossible in this opening. So by removing the battery box on this side of the bike, I was able to go in from here, remove the 2 screws, get the coil off. Like I said, this will not be a how-to video. This is simply me just working on the bike, doing a few things, getting it ready for the FXR Tour, and then we're going to go over to Justin's house to check out what he's done on his bike. He is really, really humping it, man, and I'm excited. I think the FXR Tour, we're sitting at like, I don't know, 10 weeks, 9 weeks, something like that away. Yeah, I have no excuses. All I have is a set of bars and an ignition put on this bike, and then to ride some miles on it. I may also ride this bike to the Thundermax party. So for those that don't know, Thundermax is throwing they kind of done like a yearly party. I went to their very first one. I missed last year. I was actually picking up a new bike. So I will be there for sure this year. And let me know below if you think I should ride this bike. This will be ready by then. Maybe I should ride it. It's like 370 miles from my house to White House, Tennessee. So they got their big party. Hope to see a lot of you guys out there. I don't know if Justin's going to be able to make it. It just depends on where he's at on his FXR. Either way, let's get to working on this thing. as usual, I'm at a standstill. So I've used this Dynatech system one time in the past on a old Softail that I had. And you actually have to use kind of a factory mechanical advanced pickup. I'll post a little photo right here. So you got to have that set up to make this actually work. So I'm going to go ahead and do the bars and risers, get something accomplished today. And then, like I said, tomorrow we'll run over to Justin's house, see what he's up to. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to go buy Howland Cycles and pick up a mechanical advance and finish this up. This video is going to be all over the place, so just bear with me. This is what happens when you work on motorcycles. You kind of run into these little hiccups, but either way, get the bars off, get the new risers, new bars on, and at least accomplish something today. How's that sound? All right, what's up, everybody? It's been a couple days. I'm over here at Justin's shop. Just left Andy's. He finally got the little part that I needed. I was showing you guys. Maybe I was showing you guys. I don't remember. I don't remember what I recorded last time. So I needed a little pickup for that Dynatech system to work, the little Dyna S module that I got. We're going to check in with Justin. We're going to show you guys kind of what he's been doing on the FXR. And then we'll go back to my house. I think tomorrow maybe I'll get the Dyna up and running, get that little module put in there, and we'll kind of pick back up there. So anyways, we're over here with Justin. He's actually in the other garage grabbing something real quick, but man, like I've been saying, he has been cranking out some good stuff on this bike right here. We'll kind of go over what he's done, where some of the ideas are at, just kind of get you guys up to speed on it. Man, I'm excited. I am super, and I was just telling him this earlier, seeing this bike in this shape, like looking at it and like seeing it as like an actual motorcycle is really motivating me to want to do the same. I've never like torn a bike this far down, and I would love to do it. Hopefully soon, maybe we'll see. With
make billet choppers back.
Yeah, make billet choppers great again. Have we updated it with the motor? I don't remember what the last update. No, the motor was in it. Yeah, because when it was in the other shop, in the other garage. Yeah, so you were showing them where you had to do some mods. Yeah. So you did see the motor in it, but now we got the tins all back from Henry. I know I did post a photo. I don't even know what vlog number we're on right now. But I know I showed you guys like a little snippet of this. And if you're following them on Instagram, you've seen all this stuff.
Yeah, I really don't know where we stopped, but
I know the tins weren't on it. I know the front end wasn't even
a thing.
Yeah,
so I just had the tubes up there. We'll start the front. I made this crazy headlight for it, but it's hollow and I have 3 LED rings that go in there, that set in there, and the wire comes out the back. And then it's gonna mount here. For an actual headlight, it's not the best. It's gonna just glow. But I have a spotlight from Rigid, I believe, that I'm gonna run down low for actual light. Then I did these weird trees. The tops are solid. They have 3-inch drop. Normally when I do these inverted front ends, I stretch the tubes 2 inches, or 2-inch extensions, and then do a 1-inch drop tree. But I did all my drop in the trees on this just to be a little different. And then the weirdo risers, they're actually 13.5, but they're actually only like 9 inches because they go through the risers, clamp on like clip-ons on a sport bike kind of. You do have a little bit of adjustability here if you want to raise them up and down. I don't know where this came from. I thought about it last year and I just wanted to try it along with this headlight. I've always wanted to do this. And kind of the main reason for this one is up there. You can look through the headlight, the logo's in the middle. Yeah, I got the regulator. I had to make this mount fit in there. I was gonna go directly to the top, but I wanted to suck it in and kind of lower it a little bit. So I just made a mount to bolt to it. Along with the oil cooler, I had made this like little air funnel thing and it mounts to the actual old motor mount cross member. Along with the front and rear motor mounts, cleat blocks, whatever you wanna call it. I sent the tank off and the rear fender off to Henry Steadfast Manufacturing, and he did the fuel pump in there. He made the dash just from scratch. We're gonna run a Dakota digital gauge. He did gap it on purpose all the way around. He was thinking about running a light inside there and like just have it glow out the dash, but I don't know yet, we'll see. Also, I am running, these grips are from Boosted Brad. I think it goes with the billet style. And then Speed Dealer Frank got me the mirror and the kickstand, which I think we talked about that last time. So then I made this firewall kind of plate. You have the ignition, all the coil wires come through the top. It also mounts the coil. And then the NAMS Thunder Max ECM, I made a mount for it, mounts in there as well. Actually last night, I finished the rear struts with my handles. I made the handles as a joke on my last bike. I actually use them a lot for when I'm in the trailer. I can move the bike around a little bit. And then when I'm on a road trip, I can strap to it. So it's a necessity now, so it's gonna be great. I just turned these sideways so it'd be easier to pick them up and strap to stuff. And I hope I'm saying that. Batubo?
Someone will correct us in the comments.
Back Out Ben got me those. I appreciate it. And I actually like them because not very many companies make chrome shocks.
Yeah, where the actual springs chrome and the shocks chrome.
Only thing I don't like is the cheesy sticker for the numbers. I might come back and engrave that. So here's the rear wheel. I did a 13 spoke because I'm running Lindahl rotors and sprocket. So I'm running the Lindahls, 13s on the front, 13 spoke, 13 inches. And then on the back, I'll have the 11.5 and then the sprocket as well, all matching. So I got their rotors first before I started drawing my wheels. So I'm doing the 13 as well, of course.
I'm super excited. I actually think that's a
clean, simple look.
Super clean look. And then like the wheels got that curved look. And if you notice, even with the headlight, everything's got this little kind of dome. And I think you said the air cleaner will have a little dome.
If you notice the top of the tree.
It sinks in. So there's a little bit of a theme, like not trying to be all OCC or whatever and have like this crazy weird thing. All the parts are going to look like they kind of belong together. Yeah. Like it's not just going to look like you went through a parts catalog. It's like, oh, like this and like that. It's going to flow.
Yeah, so actually tomorrow, I think my Clockworks fender will be here. I'm just going to cut it a little bit and cut the mounts off of it. And then we're going to mount to the front and rear, kind of like the old FXR style fender. It has the struts to it. The seat's going to be a lot of work for me. I'm not a big fiberglass guy, but I'm going to do it this weekend. Hopefully I can make it work. There's going to be like structure in it. I'm nervous, but we should make it work. It's going to be a two-piece seat pan. Also the side covers, I kind of figured that out. So hear me out.
There we go, story time.
I got a call a few weeks ago. They were like, hey, you shouldn't just do normal shocks on the rear. So I started thinking about that. I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Everything's kind of weird. The front's solid, beefy, inverted front end. So I was thinking I could sleeve the rear shock, but I could cut like a slot, like an angle, and kind of shape them up, clean them up, put some shape into it. But I'll use the same angle as like the drop tree. So I would tie that angle in with this. So it would be partial spring showed, but also sleeved to kind of give it that modern look. It wouldn't be solid.
It would be solid and it'll have a little more shape.
I would actually like turn a groove to step it kind of like the forks. And then about right here, do that same angles cut back towards the wheel. And then you would see a little bit of spring. See how the ribs are in the thing? The ribs steps down. I would do that same thing.
I don't know, man. I think it almost might be worth the time effort put in it. Because then it's not just a regular pair of off-the-shelf shocks.
Yeah, because I touch everything. Actually, the most stock thing on this is the motor and trans. You know Waller, the chopper, he's been building for 75 years. The rear shocks on that, they're like 1.5 inches or something diameter, super small, but they're solid. I think they're air over hydraulic. But I can't find that guy.
Yeah. But I'm kind of digging it, but yeah, comment below what you think. I don't know. I mean, see, the spring isn't bad, but it doesn't.
My son says, don't do the sleeves, leave the shocks open. But
yeah, but your son's 12 years old. 13. 13.
Stop. So the next step though is for real is the swing arm. This, I'm gonna wait till the very end because I'm not gonna waste time on it. If I need this time, I'm not gonna waste it on these. The 10s are going out, so today is Thursday. The 10s are going out Monday or Tuesday of next week. So that's the reason I need to finish the seat pan before I leave. Hey,
and really speaking of, when we're talking about the 10s, Jeremy, I love you, man. I'm not gonna cut out, so Jeremy, I don't know if you saw the video.
He said that. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Because I think he thinks that I cut out all his talking, but I pretty much leave all his stuff in there because you don't really talk much.
No.
So it's almost Jeremy vlogging for us when y'all are on the trips.
As you can tell in my last video, I've talked more in this last 5 minutes than that whole video.
Yeah. Justin just needs like the motivation, and I'm guilty of it too. We're just trying to have fun with it. So either way, we want to give you a quick update, but I want to give you another update, and I'm actually really excited about this. Justin, I'm sure everybody saw the Barbie bike, huge, I guess, debut that it had in Sturgis. Everybody really loved it. When he was doing that bike, he built a bunch for that bike, and one of the things he did is he did a set of triple trees for it.
So I did one-off trees. Every part I did for them, I won't ever do it again just because that was the plan. These are similar-ish, not really. They're actually a lot different. I created pullback in the top tree because I'm getting the complaint a lot from people, even with pullback risers, the reach is still bad on the STs for some reason.
Well, so the STs have less rake. So the tilt of the front end actually tilts forward. It's not back. Which pushes your bars forward more.
Right.
So
reach from the seat to the bars or more.
We're thinking, and we mentioned this, I know some other brands are dropping this. This was something we talked about months ago because I mentioned this for my bike because I always kind of felt like I needed a little bit more pullback, but I don't like super pullback risers. But Justin's just been super busy, so he finally did a set for her bike, and the time has come. These things are going into production. If you saw them on Instagram, you already had a pre-sale up, and I like it. It's got a little bit more shape than the factory one, but it does bring it back. So let's say if you did this before you ever put risers on your bike, if you were going to buy a set of good and tight bushings or solid risers, bushings, you're gonna spend 50 to 100 bucks on those alone. These already solid. So you're just gonna straight bolt your risers to this, which eliminates the need for the bushings. Definitely get with them if you're interested. He's got a few already cut. They're going to polishing in the next few days. Tomorrow, and then they're gonna be anodized. Yep. Some will be anodized black, some...
Yeah, there's like the order was 50-50 on the raw and black.
And like I said, this is for someone, this is the perfect setup for someone that's already put risers on their bike and wishes they had a little bit more. I know Jace is a shorter guy, and that was one of his big complaints, is that he didn't have enough pullback on his setup.
We ended up putting a pillow in his seat.
Okay.
That's when we went up to...
Well, then I guess...
So he's good there. We got one of those My Pillows, pretty firm. So now he can reach and ride and take pictures of himself. Pretty good. So.
Okay, so he's good to go. I guess so Jace's will be up for sale. We were going to offer him one, but I guess the pillow trick's working. His will be up for sale. So on the website or Instagram. But we're going to be putting one on these on Sierra's bike, and we'll do a little video, kind of show you guys what it looks like.
This weekend.
Hopefully. Yeah, it should be this weekend. Sunday will be a good day.
Born Free. I'm actually going to post more about it tomorrow. Jace had a podcast with him yesterday, but we talked to Mike. Buy your pre-sale tickets. That's going to eliminate the line. Don't buy the tickets and want to buy them at the gate, you're going to be in the line. So that's the big thing. And they added another day, so it's Thursday to Sunday, all the way through Sunday. So we're not going to leave till Monday morning, I think. The podcast will come out and give you more information on Jace's podcast. Yeah, so I'm super thankful. I can't wait. I'm excited. I wish I was a little further ahead, but we're getting there.
I think you're right at the point where you need to be. You're no further along or no further behind than almost anyone else in the group, other than Corey. I mean, Corey's obviously...
There's 2 or 3 in paint.
Well, and also, big news too, unfortunately, my favorite, the bike I was looking forward to most seeing had to step out.
Yeah.
Had personal issues, so we have a new builder.
FXR Bazaar, personal shit, none of my business, none of you guys' business, but he had to back out. So we had a quick replacement because he was like in the same point as we are in the build. His name's Heath, he works for Saddleman. I personally don't know him, so I'll be meeting him out there as well. But everybody says great things about him, so I'm stoked on his build as well.
All right, so like I said, pick the camera back up, get back to my house, get the Dyna going, and then, yeah, we'll see you there. All right, we're back in the garage. Picking back up where we kind of left off on this bike. I got the bolts in for the risers, so of course I went ahead and finished that up. I don't know how I feel about them. I know it's gonna be way more comfortable for the long ride. I don't know, man. The more I've been riding like the taller bars and riser setups, the more I like that look. Seeing Justin's FXR getting built and being over there has me thinking about doing some really crazy stuff on this bike. Obviously keeping everything as factory as I can as far as the wheels and, you know, paint and frame and all that, but, you know, putting modern bars and risers, putting modern exhaust, putting a modern seat, and still saving all the original stuff. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but it's definitely a better look than the buckhorns, I feel. I know my wife loved the buckhorns, but she's not the one having to ride it all the way from Colorado back to Texas. She's not the one trying to ride it over to Nashville. This is going to be way more comfortable. To kind of show you where we kind of left off at, your old pickup, it's kind of read off this. Now, because I'm running the Dyna S style pickup, it actually requires a factory kind of old school technology flyweight. So for those that don't know what this means, and these flyweights, your pickup, which is this little guy, can actually be, you know, when it's spinning at a certain RPM, if those flyweights open up, it will actually advance the timing differently because of those. So basically what I do is I'm gonna, like I said, put the advanced flyweights, kind of the mechanical advance on there, bolt that on, put the little pickup, put your ignition in, you gotta set the time in, so you gotta find top dead center, the front cylinder, set all that stuff. So we'll get all that done. I'll get the battery box back in. I've already mounted the coil, fire it up. So yeah, let's get to it. Ta-da! It's done, it's finished. Sounds good, it's running good. I know I didn't show you guys the kind of getting the actual module in there and all that, but it's literally 2 wires, positive ground to the coil, and then you just gotta have a trigger wire to the coil and then your tack wire to the coil. So super easy breezy. Kind of got everything nice and cleaned up on here, looking real good. Man, this bike rides super, super smooth. Handlebars actually feel really good. I know I was kind of questioning the look, but they feel great, so I can't complain about that. Let me just look at it. won't you just look at it? Will you just look at that? Just take a look at that. Eesh. Man, the original owner took good care of it. What can I say? Brakes are actually, the brakes feel better on this thing than they do on my M8 Softail. You know, riding around about 75, 80 miles an hour, not a bump in it. And let's see, click the knob on. We'll turn this little switch on. There it is. Runs, rides, bike's great. I don't plan on putting any more money in it. It's this bike is what it's meant to be. I'm done with it, and I guess the next thing to do is take it on its big ride, either Nashville or the FXR Tour. We'll see which one I take it on and kind of go from there. But either way, thank you for tagging along. Thank you for watching this go down, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.